Oh yeah, UFC 317. Here we go. If you want to get a copyright claim, play these videos on your podcast. Woo! Welcome to the DynamiteGizmo Podcast, everyone. Episode 256. Today, we're talking to everything and all things UFC 317 related. I will break down fights. I will give updates and news. No, I won't, because there isn't any. I will give you fights to look out for. No, I won't, because there isn't any. Just kidding. And at the end of the episode... Is this music too loud? At the end of the episode, I will finish it off with my full fight predictions from bottom to top, baby. So let's just get right into the news, shall we? Really, what we're going to talk about is three topics. We're going to touch on Jon Jones retiring just a little bit, because it's old news. Then we're going to talk about Charles. Then we're going to talk, we're going to talk about Ilia, and then we're going to talk about Charles. The two main eventers of the evening, okay? But before we do any of that, as always, we got to talk about the fight prediction sheets that I create every single main number event. And I do it for select fight nights as well. And just as always, I never have the file open before the episode starts, so I have to kind of stall until I open it, which is exactly what's happening now. And I'm realizing I didn't quite get it finished yet, so it's kind of almost done. It's not completely done, but it's almost done. So if you take a look at your screen right now, okay? This is a fight prediction sheet. This is a sheet that you can use for yourself and with your friends during UFC fight night. During the night of fights, during the pay-per-view event, you download this sheet, print off 700 copies or however many you need, hand them out to yourself and all your friends throughout the night. And y'all can take turns voting for who you think's going to fight. Now, let's just take a quick look at it before we get into this, okay? So we've got the early prelims, the prelims, and the main card, okay? And if I take a quick zoom in here, let's just do Royval and Van, all right? What do we got? We got the number in which the fight is happening. We got the weight class. We have their names. We have their Vegas betting odds. We have their fight record. We have the country in which they're from, the country flag, their rank up here, a picture of them, and their nickname, okay? You check off vote for who you want to vote for. You check off win for who wins the fight. If it's a draw or no contest or anything else, you check this off. Bada boom, bada bing. Now, this won't be uploaded until Friday because the Vegas betting odds change. Also, the order of the fights change. Things happen, people go, people come, people go. Now, by the sounds of it, I think Dumas, this guy here, apparently he's under house arrest, and he was supposed to obviously fight on this card, but he couldn't get his ankle monitor off in time. That's what I'm hearing anyway, so he might be out. So I don't know what the plan is for him. So when I do my predictions, I'll still do my predictions for him, but who knows, by the time this sheet is available by Friday, things may have changed. Okay? So if you want this sheet for yourself or for others, the link is in the description to a Google Drive. You click that link, it'll take you to this sheet, and from there you can download it and print off as many as you want. It's completely free. There's no charge. They're the perfect sheet. Even if you don't know anything about UFC, you can use this sheet to your advantage. Now let's talk about Jonathan Jones, shall we? Jon Boner Jones. He's done, dude. He's finally done. He's gone. And we knew this day was coming. We all knew he was done. This is old news by now. And honestly, that's one of the unfortunate things about doing a podcast once a week. Because when UFC news drops, you got to jump on it immediately or it floats away like a piece of toilet paper drifting in the wind with shit on it. So we'll just do a quick recap of the last year or so, what actually happened, and then we'll move on to what's in store for UFC 317. Does that sound good? So if we look back, let's pull it back a bit. Let's pull the curtains back and take a look at what Jon Jones has given us. All right? He's given us plenty of trash throughout his career, and there's a lot that I could talk about with Jon Jones. That could be an entire video essay, all the shit that I can talk about Jon Jones. But we're just going to talk about from the moment of October 2023. Jon Jones pulled out of his scheduled title defense against Stipe Miocic in October of 23. It was supposed to be UFC 295, and it was supposed to be in November, but he pulled out in October of 2023 due to a torn pec. That injury left the UFC heavyweight division without a reigning champ. Enter Tom Aspinall. On short notice, Tom Aspinall stepped in and claimed the interim heavyweight title with a clean first-round KO over Sergey Pavlovich. Business as usual for Tom. That's what he does best. Now we're going to fast forward to July 27th, 2024. Aspinall's back in action, but not against Jon Jones to unify the belt. No, no, no. Instead, he's defending the interim title against Curtis Blades at UFC 304. Another day, another first-round KO for Aspinall in just over a minute once again. It's what he does best. Now we'll jump ahead to November of 2024. Jon Jones is finally ready to return. Finally ready, but again, it's not to fight Aspinall. Instead, he sticks to the original plan and takes on Stipe Miocic, the same fight that was scheduled before his injury. And to be fair, he handles business, earning his first official heavyweight title defense. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall was suited up, ready cage side as the backup fighter in case anything went sideways. And unfortunately, it didn't. Now, negotiations between Jones and Aspinall dragged on. Dana White even publicly warned that if Jon Jones didn't commit soon, they'd have to move forward without him. And Aspinall understandably got frustrated, saying time and time again that Jon's side was the holdup, not Aspinall. And Dana, he swore on multiple occasions that the fight was going to happen, time and time again.
Would you guarantee 100% we see that fight?
Yeah. I'll say 100%.
100%, he says. 100% guarantees that this fight is going to happen. Tom Aspinall's the guy. Jon's not ducking anyone. This is the kind of shit that we're getting from Dana White.
But if he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall and he does walk away, do you think he's ducked him? Would you?
Tom Aspinall's the guy. He's the guy. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you do.
It's a little foreshadowing there, isn't it, Dana White? There were multiple pressers. Multiple interviews, Dana saying it was a done deal. But eventually the hype just fizzled out and Dana started changing to the tune of, we may have to move on. Oops, it's muted.
Turned down an opponent here or been afraid to fight anybody.
So if, for instance, he doesn't fight this guy, who would you like to see him fight? Or are you going to wait until he fights this guy?
I don't know. We'll see how this thing plays out over the next couple weeks. But yeah, if we can't get this fight done, we'll move on quickly.
I was going to say, Dana, my last thought on that. How long are you going to wait? I mean, how long is it worth waiting for?
I said a couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
We'll have answers in the next couple weeks.
He was right about that. They did have answers in the next couple of weeks. Of course, it wasn't the ones that we wanted. And I don't need to play every single clip. Okay? They're all out there, and I know most of you have seen or heard them already, because there's so many. There's always situations like this, where Dana says one thing and then says it again and again and again, and then it turns out to not be that at all. But eventually, after damn near 2 years of stalling, we finally get some closure. Closure we all saw coming. Closure that should have happened months ago. But instead, it dragged out until now. Out of nowhere, during the post-fight press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, a reporter throws out a casual question about Jon Jones, and this was just this past weekend. And Dana just shrugs and drops the bomb. Like nothing. Just a casual little mic drop.
Heavyweight division, take the title away from him.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
That was not even planned. Like, if someone hadn't asked a question, would he have even said that? You couldn't wait until this weekend? You couldn't wait until International Fight Week? You couldn't give Jon Jones, a guy that you've promoted for over a decade, a proper retirement announcement? Would he even have brought it up if no one asked? And at this point, I don't care about Jon's legacy or whether he gets a send-off. I care about Aspinall. What about Aspinall? Doesn't he deserve some kind of official crowning moment? A legit promo package? A main stage announcement? Something with actual weight behind it? Dana's getting tired. He's getting old. This is not news, but we can see it. And the stuff that used to be high priority now feels like background noise. Major shifts in the sport, like the crowning of a new heavyweight king, get reduced to afterthoughts. It's expected when someone's been running the game for as long as Dana has, but at some point we need fresh energy. We need someone all in on the UFC who's hungry to build stories, elevate fighters, and keep fans engaged. The fighters are still delivering, no doubt, but we need that spark again. We need fans, especially new fans, to feel like the sport matters again. Build the mythology, tell the stories, promote these fighters with passion. Don't just make a quick Instagram video in a bathroom telling us that there's a fight coming up. So instead of focus on that, Dana, he's stretched thin. He's juggling UFC, boxing, slap fights, bull riding, betting deals, the metaverse, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and God knows what else. Let Hunter take the reins. We all know he's all in on the UFC. He lives for the UFC. That's what he's got. I love Dana, and I always will. He created this company, and he's done so much for it. But eventually, just like the fighters, the old guard has to step aside, because this new era is ready to take over. And that's all I want to say about Jon Jones. If I had made this episode Sunday or even Saturday, when the announcement was made, I would have had a plethora more to talk about. But I just wanted to touch on it. I wanted to give a quick background of what happened, a very brief, quick background. Because everything's already been said. He's gone, he's done, he's not coming back. Well, he might come back, but who knows? So let's just move on to UFC 317. Let's keep this ball rolling in the direction of what's to come. 317. Who do we got? Main event, Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira. There's also another title fight, Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. But we're very limited with these episodes, as I realized, as I do many, many of them. So I like to limit myself to 3 segments. And the first segment we're going to talk about is the second segment, because we just talked about John. It's Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, okay? Now, as we just discussed, Jon Jones was known as a perfect fighter. Whether you agree or disagree, that is what he is known as because of his record. Never lost, aside from that one disqualification, which honestly, again, whether you like him or not, should probably be overturned. There are many fighters in the UFC who can be compared to Jon Jones. We even talked about this in the last episode. Undefeated streaks usually come to an end. Eventually. But with Jon Jones, it just didn't. And now there's another man that this might apply to. Ilia Topuria. Now for the casual fans, that name might not ring a bell. But within the MMA community, and especially in his home countries of Georgia and Spain, Ilia is already a superstar. The North American market just hasn't caught on yet. Unless you're a real fan of the sport, you might not fully get the hype. But if he keeps this up, some believe he could be the next big thing. Possibly even the next Conor McGregor, if he plays his cards right, and certainly he tries his best to act like him. Take a look at this video here. I can't play the audio because there's music. But you can see he does the same wiggle dance. All right? And he's even got the same, similar tattoos as the McGregornator. The thing down the back, he's got a gorilla on his chest. Topuria has a tiger, you know? And there was this interaction, I guess, was pretty similar. He doesn't make it known that he wants to be like McGregor, and maybe it's just a coincidence, but these things do show up. So what actually, aside from him acting like Conor McGregor, what actually makes Ilia Topuria special? Well, first off, it's his record. He is 16-0, completely undefeated. And out of those 16 wins, 12 were finished in either round 1 or round 2. This guy doesn't just win, he finishes people. Since joining the UFC in 2020, he's picked up 4 Performance of the Night bonuses, 1 Fight of the Night bonus, and he has climbed the ranks extremely fast, taking out rising contenders like Bryce Mitchell and Josh Emmett with ease. And just last year, he shocked the world when he won the featherweight title against Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Volk, at that time, was nearly untouchable. I would say he was completely untouchable. He had 13 wins with only 2 losses, both to Islam Makhachev, the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet as we speak. Volkanovski has wins over absolute killers. Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. I said Chad Mendes already, didn't I? And of course, 3 victories over Max Holloway. 3! And yet Topuria handled him, finished him in round 2 with a clean right hook. And then he had his first title defense to Max Holloway, And he gave Max Holloway his first knockdown ever in his entire career. Let that one sink in. Okay? He put an end to the dominance of both Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski within a few months. Something nobody else could do. Proving he's not just another pretty face. He's the real deal, something special, something that no one else has been able to figure out yet. And plenty of fighters who've trained with Ilia talk about how different he is. They say there's something unique about him, something you've never experienced before. I have a clip here of Jorge Masvidal really diving deep into this specific subject. So why don't we take a look and why don't we take a listen?
Topuria a long time. Maybe I know Topuria 5-6 years, and I've always said Topuria will be a world champion. So at the time, I'm like number 3 in the world at 170, number 2 in the world at 170, you know, and me and Ilia are working out. He was always very respectful, never was throwing his hardest, but I could just feel, you know, I blocked the shot, and boom, boom, and I go. And I told him after, the first time we trained, I go, brother, God willing, you will be champion, brother. Because Ilia's 1 out of 10,000. I've trained with everybody. Hey, say their name. Yeah. I've trained with everybody, brother. This guy's special. And I think he's going to be a world champion at 155. He's going to beat Charles, man. He's going to find a way to beat him. Charles is bigger. Charles has kicks, knees, elbows, great jiu-jitsu, good wrestling. Skill everywhere, Charles is good. But Ilia is just different, brother. This guy's special.
And he's not the only one who's talked like this about Ilia Topuria. Apturo, as McGregor likes to say. And now, this weekend, if he's able to beat Charles Oliveira, that would be 3 absolute legends back to back to back that he's taken out and still remained undefeated. That kind of momentum, that kind of dominance, we haven't seen that in a long time. A few months ago, when Ilia vacated the featherweight title and officially moved up to lightweight, he made a bold move. He changed his nickname from El Matador to La Leyenda. Do you remember this? Which means the legend. Now, at the time, I made a video about it, and I said it was too soon. Yes, he's showing greatness. Yes, he's on the path to... Excuse me, I'm just moving my mic. Legendary status. He's on the path to legendary status. But with only 1 title defense under his belt, that's too early to change your name to the legend. And sure enough, just recently, Ilia announced that he's switching his nickname back to El Matador until he's earned La Leyenda for real. So I pass the question on to you. If Ilia Topuria beats Charles Oliveira this weekend, does that prove enough for him to reclaim La Leyenda as his official nickname? Or should he hold off and keep racking up wins and maybe hit that number 1 pound for pound status first? You tell me. You tell me, guy. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. We're going to move on to Charles Oliveira, the man that Ilia Topuria will be facing this Saturday. And my goodness, there's a lot to say about this man. A lot. But first, let me just say this. If there's anyone in the UFC who truly deserves the nickname La Leyenda, it is Charles Oliveira. He's got a long, rich, emotional journey through the UFC. He even held the lightweight title at one point, only to lose it in a way no one in the sport had ever done. But before we get to that, let's take a step back for a moment. Charles Oliveira joined the UFC all the way back in 2010. He won his first 2 fights and then lost a couple. He had a no contest, won a few more, then lost some more. It was a roller coaster of inconsistency. Up and down. He was a quitter. He was seen as a quitter. Or at best, some people were even calling him a mid-tier gatekeeper. He had a moment of reckoning. After losing to Paul Fielder in 2017, things finally changed. He told himself, I'm not just fighting anymore. I'm chasing greatness. And from that moment on, MMA stopped being just a job. It became his life. Prior to that, Charles was killing himself trying to make featherweight. That weight cut was brutal. It was draining him. So he made a decision to move up to lightweight permanently, and that's when things turned around. He looked healthy, strong, and focused. He went full-time to shoot a box Diego Lima, one of Brazil's top MMA gyms. That camp toughened him mentally and physically. He wasn't just relying on his jiu-jitsu anymore. He sharpened his Muay Thai, adding devastating knees and elbows to his arsenal. And maybe most important of all, he leaned heavily into spirituality and family. He made a promise to them, his family, his kid, his wife, and to himself that things were going to change. And sure enough, they did. And after that Paul Fielder loss, Charles went on a dominant 12-fight win streak. He took out names of guys such as Clay Guida, Jim Miller, Jared Gordon, Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, and eventually the UFC gave him a shot at the belt. Now at the time, Khabib Nurmagomedov was the reigning lightweight champion. But after his emotional win over Justin Gaethje and the death of his father, Khabib announced his retirement. He vacated the belt. That opened the door for Charles Oliveira to face Michael Chandler for the vacant title at UFC 262. Chandler nearly won it in round 1. As crazy as that sounds. He had Charles in trouble. But Charles powered through and came back with a vengeance, and in 19 seconds in round 2, he dropped Chandler with a left hook and submitted him with a rear naked choke. The moment finally came. This was it. Charles Oliveira was now the UFC undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Then came his title defenses. He submitted Dustin Poirier in round 3 at UFC 269. Another clean, dominant finish over a monster of a fighter in the lightweight division. And then, in May of 2022, he was set for a second title defense. This time it was against Justin Gaethje. But this is where things took a brutal turn. At the weigh-ins, Charles came in at 155.5 pounds, just half a pound over the lightweight limit. Now that might sound small, but for title fights, there's no leeway at all. So he was immediately stripped of the belt on the scale. It was the first time an UFC champion lost their title at the weigh-ins. The UFC had made the announcement. Charles Oliveira is no longer champion. Only Gaethje can win the title tomorrow night. If Charles wins, the belt remains vacant. It was absolutely devastating. Fans were outraged. Many of them, including other fighters, accused the commission's scale of being off. But the UFC stood by the ruling. Charles still took the fight and submitted Gaethje in round 1. But when he walked out of the cage, he had no belt. And it was back as a vacant title. So fast forward a few months later, in October of 2022, the title was back on the line, and Charles was rightfully given the chance to reclaim it. But at this time, he had to face the current number 1 pound-for-pound fighter, Islam Makhachev. At that time, he wasn't number 1 pound-for-pound. I'm saying right now he is. Islam dominated. Submitted Charles in round 2 via an arm triangle choke, and that ended Charles' streak. And once again, he was the underdog. Since then, Oliveira's bounced back with a huge win over Benel Dariush, who will also be on this card tonight or Saturday night. He took a loss to Arman Sarukian and most recently avenged Chandler again with another big win. Which brings us to this weekend. Charles gets his second shot at reclaiming the belt that he never truly lost. This fight means everything to real fans. Yes, Ilia Topuria is undefeated. Yes, he's dominant. Yes, he could become pound for pound number 1. But he's still fresh. He's still climbing. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, has been through it all. He went from being forgotten to being the most beloved man in the UFC. He's 35 years old. This could be his last chance. To put it into perspective, Dustin Poirier, who started a year later than Charles, is only 1 year older than Oliveira and is retiring next month after the BMF fight with Max Holloway. So now I ask you, do you want Oliveira to win? Do you want to see the legend rise one last time? Or would you rather see the new blood, Ilia Topuria, come in, take the throne, and start a new era? Let me know what you think. And that's that, my guy. There's one other thing I need to show you. We always like to talk about custom shorts. Pantoja's got his own custom shorts now. Look at these bad boys. Aren't those nice? Dragon. Just dragons. But it's nice. I like these. They just get better and better. Are we going to get to a point where everyone's got custom shorts? I like this custom short era. And now we're going to jump in to the end of the video. The end of the video where I do my full UFC 317 fight predictions. Now again, I said things will probably change or have already changed by this Friday. I just got to get my shit situated here so I can see what's going on. There we go. Okay. So let me just get this situated over here. Oh, we're going to do some fight predictions, baby. And just as always, I always forget to do this part. So why don't you go ahead and watch this with me, shall you? Shall we? Every little thing she does is magic. I got to make some circles so I could vote. All right. And we're going to make this a green circle. We're going to stroke it with black. Stroke's not big enough. Give me a 5 stroke. 5 pixel stroke. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to take snapping off. We're going to take the extras off. Okay. Now I'll go copy. Paste, paste. And then I'll go copy. Paste, copy, paste, paste, paste. And I'll go copy, and then paste, and then copy, paste, paste. Wait. Okay. One more? I can't remember. There we go. All right. So let's jump into this. The first fight of the night. We have Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. Now, Nico Price is 16-8-0 in the UFC. 16-8-0 overall. He's 8-8-0 with 2 no contests in the UFC. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. He has had 4 Performance of the Night bonuses early in his career. And since 2018, he has had 6 wins in the UFC and 7 losses. He has fought guys such as Robbie Lawler, Michel Pereira, Donald Cerrone, Vincent Luque, and Jeff Neal. He's been in it for a little while. And then we've got Jacoby Smith, who is 10-0 in the UFC. So, fuck off. He's 10-0 overall, and he's 1-0 in the UFC. 80% of his wins are by KO. 7 of his 10 wins are all in the first round with a KO. His Contender Series win was by round 2 KO and has only had 2 decision wins ever. And when you look at the Vegas betting odds, Jacoby Smith is a minus 2,000 betting favorite. And I think that's changed a little bit. It might be at minus 1,600 now, but regardless, I think this one's pretty clear cut. We're going to vote for Jacoby. Then we have Jonata Diniz versus Alvin Hines. Diniz is 8-1 overall, 2-1-0 in the UFC. 88% of his wins are by knockout. He is on a 1-fight losing streak against Tybura after a doctor stoppage. Before that, he was on an 11-fight win streak outside of the UFC. He has received a Performance of the Night bonus on his UFC debut. Hines is 7-0. This is his UFC debut. He is 5-0 in LFA, has 8 wins in round 1 or round 2. 50-50 split of his wins are either KO or submission. Now, this one could go either way, but I'm going to go for Diniz. Next up, we have Cedric Dumas versus Jackson McVeigh. Now, here's the thing. This boy here is under house arrest, okay? The Reaper. Now, he may not be fighting because, like I said, as far as I know, as far as I heard, he can't get his fucking ankle bracelet off. So he might not be able to fight. So this fight might be completely changed. And also it says 0-0 here because at the time of creating this, there wasn't any Vegas betting odds yet. But I'm sure there is now, if he's still fighting. Anyway, let's just assume he is. So Dumas is 10-3-0 overall, 3-3-0 in the UFC. He's on a 1-fight losing streak and has been in the UFC since 2022. McVeigh, on the other hand, is 6-0 overall. This is his UFC debut, and it's a 50-50 split. His wins are between KO and submission. I'm going to go for the Moose, McVeigh. You can go for whoever you want. Next up, we have a classic fight between 2 guys that you might have seen before. Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshev, otherwise known as Slava Claus. Terrence McKinney is 16-7-0, 6-4-0 in the UFC, 50-50 split between KO and submission wins, 1-fight win streak against Damar Hadzovic. He lost his Contender Series fight, but he still made it into the UFC. Slava Claus, on the other hand, is 8-5-1 overall. He's 3-4-1 in the UFC. He's on a 1-fight losing streak to Tom Nolan. 75% of his wins are by KO. He has had 2 Performance of the Night bonuses and 1 Fight of the Night bonus. We all know Terrence McKinney is named T-Rex for a reason, because he wrecks. And that's who I'm voting for. Now we have a female fight, the only one on the card. And it's against Vivian Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. Araujo, 13-6-0 overall, 7-5-0 in the UFC. She's on a 1-fight win streak against Karen Silva. And Tracy Cortez, 11-2-0, 5-1-0 in the UFC. She is on a 1-fight losing streak against Rose Namajunas in July of last year. But before that, she was on an 11-fight win streak with wins over Jazu Davicius and Blanchfield. We know Cortez can bang and slam and rumble and ramble, so let's give her a little green circle. Next up, we have Hader Emil versus Jose Delgado. Hader, or Hyder, however you want to say it, Emil, is 11-0 overall. In the UFC, he's 3-0. In Bellator, he's 3-0. In LFA, he's 3-0. Pretty interesting, and he has had a performance of the night bonus in the UFC. Jose Delgado is 9-1-0. He's 1-0 in the UFC, and currently he's on a 6-fight win streak. Again, this is one of those fights that could go either way. Hard to pick, but I'm going to go with the Hurricane. Hader Emil, or Hyder. I don't know how you say it. Now we've got Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. Classic. Hermanson is 24-8-0, 11-6-0 in the UFC. He's on a 1-fight win streak over Joe Pyfer and has been in the UFC since 2016. He has had a Cage Warriors title, and he has defended it twice. He's had 1 performance of the night bonus and 1 fight of the night bonus. Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, 16-6-0. 7-3-0 in the UFC. He's on a 1-fight losing streak over Jared Cannonier. He's had 3 fight of the night bonuses and 1 performance of the night bonus. We all love RoboCop. I think he's going to take out Hermanson no problem. And we're going to plug that right into here. Just like that. Next up, look who we've got. The prospect is back. After his only loss. This is time for him to prove himself. But he's against a fucking dog, dude. He was up against a dog last time, but this is a bigger, badder dog. We've got Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. And honestly, you could say both are prospects. Actually, you 100% can. Let's go over Peyton Talbot, shall we? He's 9-1-0. And in the UFC, he's 3-1-0. 78% of his wins are by knockout. He has had 2 performance of the night bonuses. He was undefeated and held belts in Uriah Faber's A1 with 2 defenses, and he's had 2 amateur belts in King of the Cage. He was a huge UFC prospect until his 1 loss, and he's still a huge prospect, but people like to push him under the rug because of that loss. And then we have the man that he's fighting, another UFC prospect, Felipe Lima. He's 14-1-0, 2-0-0 in the UFC. 50% of his wins are by decision. He's on a 14-fight win streak. He has had belts in Amazon Talent, Fight Club Rush, and Octagon with a K. He has received a Performance of the Night bonus in his debut of the UFC. And honestly, when you look at the stats of both these gentlemen, I could see Felipe Lima taking this. And I think he might. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But we want Peyton Talbot to take this. So we're going to vote for Peyton Talbot. Oh, I'm backwards here. And then we have Royval versus Van. Whoo! This is a crazy fight. This is amazing. Joshua Van is rising up through the ranks, no problem. Okay, Brandon Royval, 17-7-0. 7-3-0 in the UFC. 53% of his wins are by submission. He's on a 2-fight win streak. 4 fight of the night bonuses, 1 performance of the night bonus. Has wins over Kai Kara France and Brandon Moreno. And he has lost to Pantoja twice. This is amazing. This guy's a classic. And then we have Joshua Van, who's 14-2-0, 7-1-0 in the UFC. 50% of his wins are by knockout. He's on a 4-fight win streak, has had a belt in Fury FC, has wins over guys such as Edgar Chairez, Cody Durden, Ray Cerruya, Bruno Silva. A prospect who is no longer a prospect, but is fucking ready to be a top contender. If he beats Brandon Royval, that's that number 1 spot. And look at what he's doing, dude. We got to go for Joshua Van right here. He just fought last weekend, and here he is right back at it. Amazing, dude. And then we got our feature fight of the night. Benel Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Got to get that money. Now, these guys were supposed to fight at the beginning of the year, but you remember what happened. Arman Sarukian had to back out because he's a little baby. So Money Moicano stepped in to fight Islam Makhachev, and we all saw how that went. But now these boys are finally getting their chance to fight each other. Benel Dariush, 22-6-1, 16-6-1 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight losing streak over Arman Sarukian and Charles Oliveira. If you're going to be on a losing streak, those are the guys to lose to because they're dominant forces. Benel has wins over guys such as Gamrot, Ferguson, Andrew Dober. He has been in the UFC since 2014 and has had 3 Performance of the Night bonuses and 1 Fight of the Night bonus. He's an OG. Moicano is 26-1 overall, and he's 12-6-0 in the UFC. 50% of his wins are by submission. Oh, my back is killing me. He's on a 1-fight losing streak to Islam Makhachev. Understandable. Before that, he was on a 5-fight win streak. He's been in the UFC since 2014. He has 1 Performance of the Night bonus, 1 Fight of the Night bonus, has had a Jungle Fight belt, has wins over Benoit Saint-Denis, Jalen Turner, Drew Dober, Chase Hooper, Cub Swanson, Calvin Kattar, Jeremy Stevens. We are giving this one to Money Moicano, dude. Money Moicano. Got to get that money. Easy money, dude. Now, if you look at the main event and the co-main, I don't have the backgrounds complete for Topuria, and I'm going to change Kai Kara France maybe, but we'll see. Anyway, we're on the co-main event, which is Alexandre Pantoja, or I think it's Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. All right? Now, these motherfuckers have fought before in The Ultimate Fighter, and Pantoja did win then. But we'll see how things turn out now. This is also a title fight, by the way. So Pantoja is 29-5-0. And he's 13-3-0 in the UFC. He's on a 7-fight win streak. 3-fight title defense streak. He has wins over Kai Asakura, Steve Erceg, Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, Manel Kape. He has had 2 Fight of the Night bonuses, 4 Performance of the Night bonuses. He's been fighting since 2007. He joined the UFC in 2017. He's had a belt in RFA, and he fought and won against Kai Kara France in The Ultimate Fighter. As I said. Now, Kai Kara France, on the other hand, is 25-11-0. He is 8-4-0 in the UFC. 48% of his wins are by KO. He's on a 1-fight win streak over Steve Erceg. He has had 3 Performance of the Night bonuses and 3 Fight of the Night bonuses. Again, this could go either way, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to go either way. I think Pantoja is going to take this. And I want him to take it. I wouldn't be too upset if Kara France took it. But I want to see how far Pantoja can hang on to that belt. All right. Now, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. We don't need to go over their stats because we already did in the first half of the episode. We already know we want Charles Oliveira to win, but we think Topuria is going to win. If Charles wins, it'll be a glorious moment in the history of the sport. But if Topuria wins, it'll be kind of expected. So who are we going to go for in this one? Ding dong ding da da ding dong ding ding dong ding dong ding 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 dong dong. I'm going to vote for Ilia Topuria just because I think he's going to win. But I want Charles Oliveira to win. So that's how we're going to vote. And ladies and gals, that is it for this episode of the Dynamite Gizmo Podcast. Which button do I press here? There it is. If you like this episode, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. Whoops, I just closed everything. You don't have to, but it would be nice. That's the one thing that I'll ask. You can like, comment, share, hit the bell, whatever. But just click a subscribe. Why not?